Here we are back in an old familiar location. We started our Zerker videos, or actually our first tips video on Zerker. We're back here on our Spectre. And while Zerker has been benched for the foreseeable future, our Spectre is looking absolutely amazing. Managed to break through 50k power, as well as pick up a plus 17 weapon. So all the saving we've been doing, it paid and then some. What is going on, my fellow weebs? Bruno here and welcome back to the channel. So I've been playing a ton of Spectre since launch, which was like at 5 o'clock this morning. And needless to say, I am having an absolute blast with this class. It might also help that I'm finally actually upgrading again and investing in a character, which feels pretty fun to gain power, at least for me personally. Just farming infinitely kind of was not the most fun thing, but when you're actually putting currency into your character, try to get as much power as possible, it is a pretty fun endeavor, especially when your class comes out and you have access to so many class bonuses, as well as all of the extra things that they give you for more or less making the class to help you catch up to where everyone else is at. And it has been freaking insane, to say the least. We managed to reach, I actually take a look, I think I've been pushed down. Yeah, we pushed down to third. Unfortunately, people are, starting to get their gear together. The Mystic Cat pet kind of pushes me out of the way in a lot of situations. I think both people above me are currently running it. Yeah. So unfortunately, while we do have technically some of the best gear, I think we have the highest gear rating amongst everyone, if I remember correctly. Oh no, he's got a little bit higher than ours. And yeah, we have some of the highest gear rating currently for all of the Spectres. Unfortunately, we are being pushed down due to primarily not having the credit card to support it, which is okay. We're not really too worried about it. We did reach rank 1. We got ourselves a screenshot, so I'm happy with that for now. We did quite a bit as far as upgrades are concerned, and I'm going to talk with you guys about everything you need to know in kind of a quick format if you want to jump into Spectre, whether you're jumping in new or you're planning to switch over for the character, maybe even run this as an alt. Now, I will mention, I believe the name is, let me double check. It is Nellen. Nellen has made a fantastic guide that goes very in depth with a lot of the mechanics when it comes to Spectre. So if you want something more in depth, I'm gonna leave a link to his video in the video description. We're doing a very basic overview, and I'm gonna do a little bit of explaining as far as how skills work and how you actually want to utilize them. While he does kind of explain skills and kind of how they work and how you want to use them, he goes through them fairly quickly. He doesn't really show too much about how that works, and it's very difficult to understand if you're not accustomed to how Spectre actually works. So it took me a while to pick everything up, but you will start to catch on to things. Spectre is very easy to understand, just not the easiest to actually execute because it goes by very, very quickly. We'll go ahead and go over just some of the basics. Let's start with the actual skill tree. So if we look at our actual skill build setup, you'll notice that we have no skilled here in one slot. It's actually on purpose. The reason for it is one of our most important skills, we have 2 of them, are going to be Moonscar and Shadow Strike. And in the case of Moonscar, you essentially want nothing to get in the way of Moonscar ever. Meaning there's no cooldown, no nothing, anything else getting in the way of that skill is basically going to be a damage loss for you overall. You want a TLDR of how Spectre works. It is gain stacks of our Marred Heart. At full stacks, press Moonscar. If Moonscar is on cooldown, press Shadow Strike. Continue to Shadow Strike until we get Moonscar back again. At 7 stacks, press Moonscar. The idea is that we want to have 7 stacks when Moonstar is coming off cooldown. And we can do that via Shadow Strike. Shadow Strike allows us to basically skip to the 5th hit of our attack, which gives us some Marred Heart, which is very, very powerful for us. As far as the other skills that go along with our actual setup, we are taking Blade of Despair. Blade of Despair is our quick, our level 5 ultimate. Very, very powerful because of our other ultimate we'll be taking, which is our Ultimate Awakening, 1000 Shadows. It's a duplicate of us, gives us 7 stacks of Marred Heart. Very powerful. Very useful for us. But the big thing here is that our Soul Cleave can't be duplicated by our 1000 Shadows. So we actually take instead Blade of Despair because of how powerful it actually is. It's very, very useful for us. As far as the other skills, they're just going to support our use of Moonscar and Shadow Strikes. So we have Whirling Dance, which is going to do some damage and pull targets in. Pretty nice filler button to go ahead and press whenever it's off cooldown. Not going to be the biggest concern, but it is still very powerful overall. Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark is going to give us 3 stacks of Marred Heart and do a chunk of physical damage. Very useful for giving us a huge chunk of Marred Heart. So we want to go ahead and press that to get our Marred Heart stacks up. And granted, we have other ways of getting Marred Heart stacks. It's just another way to get hold of them. Concealing Mist. Concealing Mist is going to be a nice little damage buff for us. So we go into Stealth Ready. If we dash, we'll go into Stealth. Coming out of Stealth, if we're not using Shadow Strike or Instant Slash, we will come out of Stealth. And we do break invisibility for coming out of Stealth. That first attack we do is going to do a high amount of damage. You also gain 50% evasion for 5 seconds when you do come out of your stealth. I actually believe it's just says 50% evasion for 5 seconds after use. I found that it happens after I come out of my stealth because I've been in stealth for a while, and then all of a sudden an enemy missed me when I came out of stealth, which is very, very rare, but we'll have to see how that goes. And of course you can see how amount of damage you deal for your next hit is like an insane amount. It's almost 1900 damage on that next hit. So very, very powerful. We do like to see it here. And of course we also have the bonus for Marred Heart, which is continuously gain Marred Heart while you're in stealth prep, which is just while you're invisible, essentially. We'll gain stacks of Marred Heart, which is very, very useful for us. Soul Execution is just damage. You cast it and you can recast it again. And abilities that have multiple steps to them are going to give us Marred Heart for the combo itself. So we do like to see that here. This is going to be a 2-step ability. It's also the reason why we take something like Solemn Blade. Solemn Blade allows us to teleport to our blade. It's again a 2-step ability, which is going to give us stacks of Marred Heart. Very, very powerful, very useful for us. That's basically going to be it. We're essentially going to be attempting to Shadow Strike as often as we can, and then Moonscar when we have max stacks. It's, again, very simple to understand. It's just not the easiest to execute. It's actually pretty difficult to execute properly or optimally consistently, but it's not too difficult to actually play. Not too difficult to understand, excuse me. Much more difficult to actually play. As far as your build goes, you're just going 3-piece cavalry. We hit insanely fast. We take advantage of elemental damage, which is really, really nice. So 3-piece cavalry, gonna be boots, chest piece, and helmet. There are other build setups. We're not gonna talk about them here. Essentially, that's what you're gonna be going for overall. As far as accessories go, you want the 5-piece accessory set bonus. It's very, very powerful. We actually go over to it. The seal, I guess. 2-piece is going to give us pre-stealth duration plus 5% and then gain 10% damage bonus while during pre-stealth. Our 3-piece set bonus. I said 3-piece, I meant 2-piece, I'm sorry. Shadow Ambush Concealing Mist cooldown goes down by 5 seconds, and the stealth break attacks deal 100% increase more damage. Really, really nice. And then of course we have our 5-piece set bonus, which is Flowing Form during pre-stealth every 2 seconds. Reduce all skill cooldowns by 0.5%. So you're getting even more cooldown reduction, which is really, really powerful. We basically just absolutely spam like crazy. In case you're curious of the other pieces here, again, look at the combinations, up to you, or you can check out Nellen's video where he talks about them a little bit more, but you can mix and match these individual pieces. I know they're both called Dust Shadow, but if you read how this works, Dust Shadow set effect can be activated, which this is the Dust Shadow set effect. Take a look, it says Dust Shadow set, right? Even though this is also named Dust Shadow, this is the Filth set effect. It's really annoying that they name it this way, but that's how it works. Essentially, as long as you don't have the set effect active from here, you still get the 5-piece set effect from here. So you have 2 pieces that you can equip, which is going to be the seal and the talisman, and then you can have like 2 of one of these and 1 of the other, or 1 of each. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you, depending upon which one you're trying to take based on its actual ability. But essentially allows you to get the 5-piece set bonus while still taking advantage of these individual pieces, which are very, very powerful. So you do want the 5-piece set bonus. It's going to be very useful, and that's what you're going to be going for. As far as weapon, pretty straightforward. We're taking the dragon weapon, upgrade it, use it. Very, very strong, very, very powerful. Blah, 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 blah. Circuits are pretty straightforward. We want to go with offensive stats. So you want to at least roll a circuit that has at least 3 offensive stats on it, and then just roll it from there. This is RNG, so good luck. You're not always gonna get the best circuits overall, but you can do, you basically try your absolute best. The only really part of note is the talisman and the seal circuit specifically. Skill damage is actually a lot more powerful than it's been for a lot of other classes, since whenever we Shadow Strike, that is considered skill damage, not basic attack damage. So basic attack here is really bad, and seal damage is actually very good. Of course, assuming we still need more, or we can still make advantage or take advantage of the use of more pyro enhancement, you want to go ahead and do pyro enhancement if you can, but again, skill damage is a really, really good option. I usually recommend going crit damage in our circuits, but of course you just take whatever you can get that's actually good. It's better to take crit rate with good substats than to take crit damage with really, really bad ones. Unless you're like 100% crit rate, then in that situation, sure, the other way around is still gonna be better for you. But crit damage is the one thing that doesn't really cap or have a soft cap. It just scales more or less infinitely. So eventually, at a certain point, when you're playing your character, you're just going to only be able to scale up crit damage. So crit damage is a good idea to go ahead and go for. That's pretty much it when it comes down to like how this actually works. I'm going to go ahead and pop over to the training area really quick to kind of give you a little bit of a demo, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's video. Now, I didn't mention it beforehand, but as far as pets go, by the way, Agumon, really strong, really powerful. Brilliant Crystal Fox, you don't really need the cooldown at all. This is kind of like hyper overkill, not really that useful, but the Fox is kind of one of the better pets we have available or have access to. Another option would be the Magic Hat, and I mean, if you have the wallet to support it, absolutely use that plus Agumon. Or if you don't have Agumon, they released that, you know what, I'll just go ahead and show it. They released the pet from the PS5 event, which just looks like Lightning Cerule Edge from Pokemon. But they released this pet that basically is 1-for-1 exactly the same as Agumon. Has the same effects, has the same abilities, they cannot stack. Basically, this is just your choice of a pet if you didn't get a chance to pull Agumon or if you were playing on PS5. All right, so as you can see, when we go to attack, we gain stacks of Marred Heart based on our combo that we're doing. You see it stacks up. As we keep comboing, we keep getting stacks of Marred Heart. Keep comboing, and then you see we are maximum. It glows. And if you look down here at Moonscar, see it has a little 3 next to it. This is the only time you want to press Moonscar. It's not worth pressing it any other time unless you're like at the very end of a fight. You're about to have to burst down some crazy amounts of damage, and you're not gonna be able to get to your maximum stacks, which realistically you should be able to because it's like 1 button press. But if for some reason that's the situation, then cool, you can press Moonscar there. But other than that, you're never pressing Moonscar ever unless it's at 3 stacks. And when it's at 3 stacks, it does a bunch of damage. You'd love to see that. And if we take a look at stealth, so we're gonna pop stealth. When we dodge, we go into stealth. You can see we can move around. Pretty cool. And then we attack. Oh, we came out of stealth real quick. Here we go. These attacks don't take us out of stealth, but if I press a skill, it does. Now, as far as our stealth strike and how it actually works, and what I recommend for stealth strike, by the way, is hold your basic attacks and press your stealth strike. As you can see, we get our 5th part of our combo, or I guess a stealth strike attack, which is really strong, to give us stacks of Marred Heart. And that's pretty much it. You're going to be stacking up Marred Heart as much as you can without overstacking Marred Heart, while trying to put all your stacks into Moonscar. I almost said Windscar, dude. Inuyasha fans know exactly what I'm talking about. As far as our ultimate, when we press it, summons our clones, gives us 7 stacks that you can use. And if you look at all our skills, they get copied by our double, including our ultimate, but I took too long with that. And of course, our Moonscar. So that's basically it. You're gonna be pushing that as much as you possibly can, as fast as you possibly can, as much damage as possible. You want to make sure that you aren't overstacking on your Marred Heart stacks. That's a very rudimentary way of explaining this, but again, you want more in depth, check out Nellen's video. Went to a lot of trouble putting a lot of effort in that video. Very heavily tested in ways that I haven't been able to. So definitely check them out. I'll leave a link in the video description. That's pretty much it. If there are any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe when you keep up with more. Just as a heads up, we will likely be live again tomorrow at 10 a.m. with more Assassin. As always, more Greymon is trying to flex. Either way, take care, my friends. Peace out.